DEs.
right.
Top 5 DEs. And I think this one's even more important because the Lions are talked to get DEs.
Yeah.
Everybody's telling us we need DEs. I don't necessarily buy that. But let's get into it.
Yeah. Let's start off with my number 5 defensive end / edge. I've got David Ajabo. This is including his injury.
Is it? Would he be higher if it wasn't for the injury?
He would be on my list, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And so when I look at the tape, I just see a special ability to win around the outside and then counter on the inside when needed. He brings the spin move. He brings inside leverage. He brings some strength ability that I think is underrated that people are not looking at. I think his upper body is strong enough and his hands are good enough to get really good leverage. Maybe his lower body is not so bulky like you would want to see.
His Achilles is definitely not strong enough.
His Achilles tore.
Is his Achilles heel?
Yeah, it's his Achilles heel. I'm really, really hoping. I'm basically setting this list with him on it, acknowledging the injury. He dropped down my list a little bit, but I don't want it to take away from. I think I'm expecting
that he is.
I'm expecting a recovery.
All right.
Yeah. So could it destroy his potential in the NFL? Absolutely, 100%. I don't, because he relies on that explosiveness.
Yeah,
he really does. But let's not forget that he ran a 4.55 40-yard dash. Let's not forget that he has a 35-inch vertical, 122-inch broad jump, and quickened his 20-yard shuttle.
What do you think leagues think of this type of thing? The injury and is this a massive concern to them, or do they look at it as we can get a steal for this guy?
It depends on the tear, I think, and they're going to do their research. They're going to talk to the doctors, surgeons. They're going to ask about the nature of the injury and if it's a partial tear versus full tear, and how does the full tear look? Was it, a tricky surgery and everything else?
Yeah.
They're going to look into that. I think people expect prospects to bounce back from this stuff, especially being so young. But this is one of the worst ones. This takes away explosiveness.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's the new ACL in this world. Is the Achilles. All right, number 4.
Number 4, I have Trey Von Walker.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are considering him potentially be the number 1. Some people are saying number 2. That's kind of where we're seeing him get graded. Why do you have him at number 4? And I'm sorry if I just set it up as like a downside. It might not even be downside. It's just how deep this position is. Maybe
he has incredible athletic ability that was on full display during the combine. But I think maybe maybe a little bit more than it should have been hyped up his combine.
Okay.
So the production on the field is, I think last year was like 4.5 sacks.
Yeah, it's not a ton.
The production's not there, but they also didn't ask him to do too much. They asked him to set the edge, and be the strong guy to just engage with the offensive lineman and then work from there. I don't think you can put a guy on a football field who has instincts to go get the quarterback and
tell him not to.
Yes, exactly. I think they used his strengths at Georgia according to what he's capable of, and there's some untapped potential. There's definitely some upside there that's not realized at this point. We've seen evidence of that in years past when the measurables translates to production.
Yeah,
but I don't see this as, so he ran a 4.51 40-yard dash compared to Jabo's 4.55.
Okay.
And there's other guys like Arnold Ebiketie from Penn State ran 4.52 or 3 or something like that. It's not unheard of for these defensive ends to be such amazing athletes that they're running a 4.5 40. It's just it's not unheard of. People do it these days.
Do you think so? Basically, it comes down to, is he like the Rashawn Gary of this draft, where he has all of the upside, the measurables are there, but the production wasn't? And was it because of the role he was playing, or is it because that's just he's not as explosive to go get those stats and go get the quarterback the way that Gary didn't? You know what I mean? And I know Michigan fans, the way we think, like we're obviously, that's who we think of, different position too, right? Gary's more interior, or is that a good comparison?
No, it's my perfect comparison.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's exactly who it like all the upside in the world, a high end recruit.
But the red flag of the lack of production is what is making you feel like it might not be there.
Yes, and then you talk to the Packers fans, and they love Rashawn Gary. Well, that didn't translate immediately, and it's still not elite. It's not a 15-sack guy. It's not a 16-sack guy, but he's solid. And so we see there's value in Trey Von Walker. I'm not saying there's none.
Yeah.
But there's definitely he doesn't naturally go get the quarterback. He's not an edge guy that has an amazing bend and ability to get around a block, and that's where I cannot rank him any higher than this. I think some of these other guys are elite athletes who just have a natural instinct to keep the motor moving forward and get to the quarterback.
So let's get into the next guy here. Number 3,
George Carloftus. He was a high-end prospect and big name out of Purdue. Yeah, going into the combine, I would say right after the season ended, and his stock has been falling ever since.
Okay.
At this point, I could see him going in the late first round, based on mock drafts that I've seen and just, like I guess the hype around him. And Trey Von Walker is the complete counter to that. He's looking at potentially even second overall. Carloftus, nobody's saying anything about Carloftus.
Yeah, he's very quiet about him.
When I see and watch George Carloftus, he is absolutely relentless. I see a massive human being that moves people out of the way, that uses his hands he just uses them as clubs and moves people out of the way, and has a unique ability to contort his body to get to the quarterback at all costs. And I think that translates much better than measurables at a combine.
Who would be your comp for him in the NFL? Is it as simple to say a J.J. Watt?
He could be. I want to look up some of the measurables because I think he had a 38-inch vertical jump.
Okay.
Carloftus, and to me that just shows the explosiveness in a specific direction. His comp is challenging for me because it's almost like an Aaron Donald. You ever watched Aaron Donald, like some of his highlights and stuff, how he gets to the quarterback? He looks like a pinball machine, just kind of bouncing around.
Yeah.
But forever moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I see Carloftus as. Like even when he's being blocked, his legs keep moving independently from his upper body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just overwhelms eventually whatever offensive line's in front of him. He's got incredible strength, big hands, strong hands. I think he's going to be a huge pickup for somebody mid to late first round.
Yeah.
Carloftus, yeah.
All right, number 2.
Number 2, defensive end, I have Kayvon Thibodeaux.
Okay. This is one of the most interesting names, I think, in this whole entire draft because we went into this like what? 4 weeks left in the regular season of like college football. He was number 1. There was no question. It was kind of basically all year. He's the one that everybody has to worry about. Now all of a sudden it just seems to be like, oh, well, does he have the attitude? Does he do this? Does he do that? He's just continuing to, quote unquote, fall down to only be pick number 2 in my head, right? Like that's kind of what it seems like the end goal is with him. But what do you like about him?
He just has that. He has a special ability that not everybody has. And it's the bend around the outside. It's the explosiveness, the ability to jump off the ball in critical situations and third down and go get the quarterback using his athletic ability and his skill of staying on his feet, as his elbows brushing the ground. Like, I don't know. To me, he is the closest thing to Myles Garrett.
That's exactly Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, maybe he lacks a little bit of the upper body strength, but he has also been forever injured in college. So I think that takes away from somebody's ability to build muscle and work.
That's true, yeah.
100% in the weight room all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to – I think if you look at him coming out of high school, he was a man. Like he hasn't done that much of a transformation from his freshman year to now.
Yeah.
And I think that just shows maybe the lack of ability to stay in the weight room and give it 100%. But you're right. He is interesting because people are they're knocking him for selling his own brand.
Yeah.
Compared to team success.
Yeah. Which, when you become in such a niche position, that it's not about who you are as a person. It's not about who you are team-oriented or not. The guy that I want going after a quarterback is someone that I don't care about thinking about the team. He's got one goal, and it doesn't matter if he was told to go left or right, just go get him.
Yep.
That's where I'm at, and I hate the stigma around the defensive end position right now. Is everybody's getting so hyped up about the TJ Watts of the world who just goes and gets the quarterback, and the Joey Bosa's, and don't get me wrong, if we could get
Nick Bosa,
but like, I don't need the high motor guy. I don't need the guy that gives it all every single play. No, those aren't the guys that are most successful in the league. The guys that are most successful in the league know how to play in this league. They know how to take a play off because they know the play's going the opposite direction. They're not going to go all out because that's what they have to do. That's what they're supposed to do. They take a play off or two,
or set
and
up a
then
lineman.
they completely go. And then that's when they make the big impact play. That's when they create the strip sack. That's when they create turnovers of interception. Those are the guys that I'm just like, I would take a Myles Garrett over a Joey Bosa. Not because of anything other than just I feel like Myles Garrett can manhandle, and he's got that mean streak and not just the high motor that everybody loves to talk about with other, and let's be honest, it's kind of a race thing. It's like the white guys have high motors, the black guys have the athletic ability, right? And the anger. You know what I mean? It's kind of the stigma that these guys have.
The Boses have helped that stigma if there is one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far, though.
But, I mean, that's kind of what people talk about, though, right?
Yeah, I don't know. No.
No? I think they do. I don't know. I feel, and I'm not saying that's what I believe. I'm saying that's what it sounds like. When it's a white guy, it's a high motor.
Coachability, all that kind of stuff. And that's what Kayvon's getting dinged on a little bit is like, his character, if he's all in it for himself, he's building a brand. Yeah, I mean, from junior in high school, he knew that he was going to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's been conscious of his brand, which means that he's smart in a lot of people's minds, that he's thinking about the future, that he's setting himself up for long-term, family-changing type of success in his career. Like, why knock that right now? And to your point, who do you want going to get the quarterback? The guy that also is looking for the next contract. The guy that knows that if he gets 15 sacks a year that he's going to make bank.
Yep.
I don't care. Go do it. Make bank. Become the highest paid end in NFL history. That's great. That means you're producing.
Yep.
And so, like, if that's – I don't think the Lions are going to be sorry to bring Lions into this, but I don't think they're going to be scared away. I don't think any team should be scared away from that type of a thought process, I guess, from Thibodeaux.
Yeah.
The other stuff, I'll let them figure out. I don't know, his character and everything else, but not because he's thinking about his long-term success from, the moment he stepped on campus.
Yeah. All right. Number one,
pretty obvious. It's Aiden Hutchinson.
Shocker.
Yeah. I don't think he has the elite traits that a lot of these other guys, actually, like almost the rest of the list has. But he does. But he's like second best at every single one of them. Like, he has an amazing first step off the line. That's, I think, the difference from this year compared to previous years. When I'm watching Ajabo, I think Ajabo is absolutely elite at winning from his first step. And yet, when I watch the tape, Aiden's on the opposite side doing exactly the same thing. They're both almost in rhythm. It's like perfect timing where the two of them are doing it together. Where Aiden, I think, just excels is his ability to. He can beat you around the outside. His motor, like we've talked about motor, his motor literally never stops. Like, he does run everybody down from behind, and he's got extreme athleticism. He has the length. He has the strength. He has this push-pull type of movement where, like, he engages with the offensive lineman and then rips himself past them that I don't think is even comparable. Nobody else in this draft is even close to the way he can pull that off on a regular basis. And he exposed a lot of high-end tackles this year. I think he's the full package. I think he's a guaranteed impact type of player. Maybe not even a 16-sack guy ever, but he's going to be effective in the run game in the pass game, on third down, locker room character. Like, he's got everything that you want to be a guaranteed successful pick.
All right.
And not only that, but he's got he tested out pretty well too. 4.77, but his first 3 steps were, just as fast as TJ Watt's.
Yeah.
His first 3 steps were just as fast as Thibodeaux's. He won in the 3-cone drill. Like, he was better than every other defensive end in the 3-cone and in the 20-yard shuttle. Like, his short space burst is elite, and that's what shows. It's like the combination of length and strength with the short-term burst ability. Maybe he doesn't have the greatest bend, but he already won. He got there already, and he can keep you away from him with his hands and create that space.
Are Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeaux the number 1, number 2 prospects in this whole entire draft?
I think offensive tackle would have something to do with that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's definitely up for debate. I like Evan Neal. I like Icky. But yes, I think those 4 to me are above everybody else in this draft. And again, like, I acknowledge that, like a Carloftus or Trey Von Walker or a Jabo really could end up being the best pass rusher out of this whole group. But I think all those guys at the top, the Kayvons, the Aidens, those are the safe picks because they have rare special ability that some of the other guys might never live up to.